We are blessed tonight to have two of the all-time great players of Test cricket. In fact, all forms of the game join us on the show. I've already spoken to Sunil Gavaskar. The next bloke was arguably the most beautiful player to watch with a bat in his hand. Please make him welcome Greg Chappell, everybody.
Thank you, boys. Thank you, Andy.
You were Greg. You were
the best orthodox right-hand batsman to ever play for Australia.
Well,
Discuss.
that's very kind of you, but I never saw myself bat.
Did you have a
punch through leg was pretty good.
Yeah,
so
I think the on-drive probably was the one that got me going better than most, because I think it's a big statement. If a bowler gives you the best he's got and you can build it back past him, I think that's a fair... Oh, you can't do that, can you?
So it's a long way to centre stage playing for Australia from your own backyard, where you used to have one of the most intense games of backyard cricket ever with your brothers Ian and Trevor. How serious did they get?
Yeah, pretty serious. I don't think many people realise that my first Test matches were for England, because our backyard Test matches were always Ashes Test matches. Ian was the older brother, so he was Australia and I had to be England. So that was my first real challenge in life, because I didn't want to be beaten by my older brother, but I didn't have my heart in winning for England. So I spent about 5 years learning to lose.
Yep.
And then Ian left home and I became Australia and Trevor was England. And then I started winning. So
Is there a story about a tomahawk in the backyard? There
is a story about a tomahawk. I thought our Test matches, Ian and my Test matches, were pretty tough. And as I say, I had to be England, so that was... And 5 years younger, so he was always bigger and stronger and spent 5 years trying to kill me in the backyard with a cricket ball. At least he was giving me a chance. But then I became Australia and Trevor became England, and I was also the chief groundsman, although Trevor does dispute that. And we were, pretty serious about our cricket. So you'd bat as each player, and when you got out, you'd go into the laundry, fill in the scorebook, and come back as the next bloke. But
of course,
it was a very hot summer's day, and you've all been in Adelaide or Melbourne, middle of summer, 40 degrees, and I could see the pitch wilting in front of my eyes. So while Trevor was putting the score in the scorebook, I got the watering can out and just gave it a quick
little freshen.
Just freshen it up a little
bit.
Well, Trev came back and he saw the handiwork and he cracked the shits and he was off. He was going inside. Sadly, Dad had left the tomahawk on the tank stand near the back door and Trev thought that's a better way to sort it out. So he came back with the tomahawk. Now, Trevor was a bit quicker than me, but I was lucky enough. We had some fruit trees in the backyard. I saw him coming, got a head start, and I'm ducking and weaving through the fruit trees and realised that I wasn't going to live past that morning unless I found an escape. So I sort of got myself so I could run down the side, forgetting that Dad had just built a new gate and it was closed. Luckily, it had a crossbar on it and I was able to vault over the gate and go down the street for an hour or so and wait for him to calm down. But, so at least Ian had only tried to kill me with a cricket ball.
Fair enough, very decent.
A bit of family fun.
You were, I'm quite serious, you're the most beautiful player for a lot of kids my age growing up. We love watching you play, and we love you and the beautiful super scoop, the single scoop Grey Nichols bat were synonymous. Was that the only bat you ever used in Test cricket?
Grey Nichols was the only brand of bat I used. The scoop didn't come in until 72, so I'd played a few Test matches with the, just the old Crusader sticker on the back of it. And but then when the scoop came in, they were really good bats.
Beautiful.
The whole idea behind the scoop was to try and take a bit of the weight out of the back of the bat and spread it across the face of the bat a bit, so that the off-centre hit worked a bit better than the original bats we had. I mean, if you didn't hit it in the middle of the bat, it wasn't getting out of the circle, let alone out of the ground.
Never tempted by the SS Jumbo?
No, well, a bit heavy for me, I think.
When you see these bats today, do you just go, crikey? Because you told us off air, you said you had, how many bats did you have for the season?
Oh, I'd get 2 bats at the start of the season. One of them would be my practice bat and the other one I'd use in the middle. So,
which you'd knock in yourself?
Knocked in myself, the old linseed oil and a mallet or a Coke bottle. You give it the old grind across the Coke bottle and try and harden it up a little bit. But a little bit
like a home renovation show.
I was watching before. I thought Andy could have hardened up when you asked him the question about commitment.
Hey,
Greg Chappell will come. Greg Chappell will come to your wedding. That is.
When the Australian captain says harden up.
Yeah. Well, he also told Trevor to bowl underarm.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that a bit later on.
Well, that was taking a little bit of a risk. That's about as far as it got.
You got onto it quickly, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we grew up without sunscreen, and we spent our life, in the sun. And we lived near the beach. We spent a lot of time playing cricket down the beach in a pair of shorts or swimming togs. So no hat, no sunscreen, no shirt. We were asking for trouble.
Yeah.
So it was later we started to realise the importance of of covering up. And you might remember the old toweling.
They did nothing.
Aesthetically, they weren't that good, and they didn't even protect you from the sun.
No.
And I happened to be in Pakistan on a tour, and Majid Khan was wearing more of a bucket hat. And I filled up my cricket case with them when I came back, so I thought that'll last me the rest of my career.
Yeah.
But I was actually at the Albion Hat and Cap Company who made the baggy green cap one day after that tour, and I asked them if they could make a brimmed hat, and they said yes, they could. So on a handshake deal, we started the Greg Chappell hat.
It was a game changer. They're still wearing it.
We all had one.
Long after you finished playing, I wanted a Greg Chappell cricket hat. That was what we wanted for kids. What needed to be in our Christmas stocking.
His strengths were cutting and pulling, he was quite happy to get them fired up and get them bowling short. And it had been going on for a few test matches, and what you don't see in that clip is that Javed hit the ball from Dennis down to fine leg where Jeff Lawson was fielding. And Javed is probably one of the best runners between wicket that I ever saw. And he always ran the first one hard. He could turn one into two better than anyone else, two into three, and so on. But this day, he took off very slowly, and he was carrying the bat in two hands in front of him. So the alarm bells went off for me. Something's on here. And Dennis used to follow through off the wicket. And so Javed sort of ran towards where Dennis was, and he was going to just give him a little bit of a gobful. And Dennis, never known not to have the last word, sort of moved back in to have a chat to him. And Javed just gave him a little nudge with the bat handle under the ribs. And Dennis was probably 13.5 stone, and it lifted him off the ground. So it was a serious. And I mean, I could see this from first slip, and that's when Dennis then got angry and came in and tried to kick him up the date, but that was we only saw the end result, and it's always the one that retaliates that gets into trouble.
But how did you calm it? What was your influence? What would you say to him?
Well, I don't remember the exact words, but it was something along the lines, Dennis, now just keep it calm. We don't need you to get suspended. We'd say, just get back and get the bloke out. That's all we need you to do. So
we love going back to the archives. Your brother, Ian, he was a bit of a hothead. Would you describe him as a hothead?
Not always, but...
He had a bit of a temper when he felt like it. By the way, the best captain present company.
You won't get any argument from me.
Probably the best captain I ever saw of Australia. Aggressive, tough, always at it. This is him. He must have been coming to the twilight of his career, and a journalist, I think at Adelaide Oval, had the temerity to ask him about his Test future.
Have you still got a future in Test cricket, though, do you think?
Don't ask me. Why ask me? Ask the selectors.
What do you think you have?
Look, it doesn't bother you. It's my decision. It's the thing that I do, right? I'm playing cricket for South Australia. That's what I'll continue to do.
Why are you reacting like this, though, to a perfectly normal question?
Because I think some of the bloody questions are ridiculous.
Such as?
Oh, try all of them.
What would you have asked, then?
Well, you want me to take your job? Here, you come and stand here.
No, go on. You're
stand there.
You're suggesting... And with that, he left.
Okay, quick tip, if you've got to storm off, don't do it in tight shorts. Is that the brother you know and love and you've recognised?
I've had that conversation with him once or twice.
Hey, 1977 rolled around, you were both part of it. Were you always in World Series cricket from the moment you heard about it? Were you always in?
Yeah, I think I was, from the point of view that I was pretty much at the end of my career as far as I was concerned at that stage, because I'd done a few tours to England and I've been most other places you could play cricket. Wasn't a lot of money in it. I was involved in business in Brisbane. it was probably hard to justify to continue playing.
Yep.
So then when World Series cricket came along, I thought it was a no-brainer, but as Australian captain, I felt that I had a responsibility, you know, as the captain, not to be leading them in the wrong direction, if you like. So I said to John Cornell and Austin Robertson, look, I'll give you a decision when you go and talk to everyone else you need to talk to, and when you're done, come back and talk to me. But
so
you know, emotionally, I was in.
So, but what was the choice there? Because Packer comes along, and was it a choice where you play for Australia, you play World Series cricket?
Yeah. Well, I think initially Kerry's idea was to get, and he approached 54 of the world's top players, and 54 of them said yes, and then Jeff Boycott pulled out. But I think the original idea was to get the players signed up and then go and talk to the board. So we were hoping we'd be able to do both.
Right.
What was Packer like? Tell what was did you have much interaction? He's a legend, Kerry Packer.
Yeah, he was a legend, and you know, I think cricket and sport generally is very lucky that he came along, because he changed the face of sport in Australia, not only cricket, just with the television and all of that sort of stuff. He was an amazing fellow. He delivered everything that he promised plus some.
Yep.
But I wouldn't have liked to have been on the wrong side of him. I remember we were in England playing on tour at the time that it was all being sort of worked out, and Kerry called Ian into his office one day and to talk about which players that he wanted, and he said, and by the way, you'll be captain of the Australian team. And Ian said, well, hang on. He said, shouldn't you talk to Greg first? He's captain of Australia. And Kerry said, you don't think this is a democracy, do you?
Yeah, I still wouldn't go to New Zealand if I was you.
Actually, the New Zealand, funnily enough, the response from the New Zealand, the team and the New Zealand public has been fantastic. As I said, we went to New Zealand soon afterwards, and the first one-dayer we played was at Eden Park, and they turned up from everywhere, and they obviously, a lot of them, was like Beverly Hillbillies. They all turned up, and as I walked out to bat, no, seriously, they've all come from the farm, because as I walked out to bat, there was a duck pushed out on the ground, there was a pig that was let loose, and next thing was a lawn bowl came rolling out. Thankfully, the bloke that had rolled it out didn't get his bias right. If it had turned right, it would have run over me. But it turned left and went into the gutter.
What about Trevor? What about your relationship with your brother? Tell me he didn't chase you with a tomahawk again.
No.
After this?
He learned his lesson after the first attempt. But no, he was fine. I mean, as he said, I mean, it's my older brother. What do I do? I mean, I just do as I'm told.
You could have picked any bowler to bowl that last over, couldn't you?
Well, the funny thing is, I think if it had been anyone else, I wouldn't have asked him.
You wouldn't have done it.
Oh, wow. It was a big moment. I love it, because I still rile up the New Zealanders when I'm over there as well. But
it's a diplomatic incident.
It is, but it has created the rivalry. I mean, even the Prime Minister at the time had to weigh in.
I described Greg Chappell's actions as an act of cowardice, which I believe it was, and I thought it was most appropriate that the Australian team was dressed in yellow.
That's Piggy Muldoon, of course.
But it was interesting. He hosted us at the Prime Minister's function on the tour a few months later, and he invited Jeff Howarth and myself to meet him in his office, in his private rooms before we went to the function. And he said, listen, don't worry too much about all that. He said, you've got to do those things for the press. And he said, you've got to understand that how it happened was that his phone number was in the telephone book.
Yes.
So it's listed in the Wellington telephone book.
That's
He
not
said,
good.
I've been asleep for 2 or 3 hours, and the phone rings alongside the bed, and it was some bloke from ABC Radio in Sydney who'd rung him at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he woke up. He said that was my response. But he said, "Don't worry." He said,
Beautiful.
We had a very good night at his expense that night.
Your brother weighed in the following day. Ian was a journalist at the time. Did this cause any family friction?
Just a little bit. Actually, not from where you would expect. Our mother rang. Jean rang Ian and said, "What are you doing? You're just giving your brother a hard time." And he said, "Well, look," he said, "Greg ordered it. Trevor bowled it. He said if I'd agreed with it, they'd have locked us all up."
Thanks for everything you've done. Thanks for everything you've done for Australian cricket and for world cricket. And thanks so much for
Best
coming on
11
our show
ever.
tonight.
Best 11 ever.
Greg Chappell, our very, very special guest.